Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 9th of March. Yeah, that's the correct month. The 9th of March 2014. And in today's news, we really only have two things, but one of them is actually indicative, perhaps, of a very major bit of news. So I'm going to cover a new trailer that has basically just appeared out of nowhere, and then I'm going to cover some of the follow-up questions to the healing discussion that we had in the previous video. Basically, they did a whole bunch of sort of just Twitter action to clear up some misconceptions and things that players had. But first of all, there's a Warlords of Draenor trailer out. It's perhaps not the trailer that you would think, though. It's called Wish You Were Here, and it's actually a preview or trailer kind of video for the upcoming level 90 boost feature. And that's basically it. It says pre-purchase Warlords of Draenor to get a level 90 character boost to use right now in-game. Of course, that's a little bit peculiar because the pre-orders are not up yet. But this does come ahead of one or two interesting things. So first of all, this video was uploaded on March the 7th, yet it's only came to light today. What does that tell us? Well, Blizzard actually do pre-upload videos on YouTube and then make them unlisted, which means that someone has given out the link for this video. Either that, or there's maybe some sort of exploit within YouTube to find out unlisted videos. But anyway, this thing has came to light. Now, this was uploaded on March the 7th, that's roughly in and around the time when they were talking about the discontinuation of the Mists of Pandaria Digital Deluxe. And that discontinuation is apparently going to happen no sooner than the 10th of March 2014. Now, of course, the 10th of March is Monday, that's tomorrow. Which means that it's likely, my own little hypothesis, yes, is that the Mists of Pandaria thingy will disappear either tomorrow or Tuesday, and then at roughly the same time the Warlords of Draenor pre-order will appear. Now, all of that said, I think the big question is the Warlords of Draenor beta. When will it come out? Well, if this expansion is going to hit let's just say a late June, maybe late July, sort of in around summer launch window, then the beta is going to have to come out pretty much this month. Any later, and they're just not going, at least based on how long previous beta tests have been, they wouldn't be able to get enough information and testing done. So it's definitely going to be quite imminent, and I think that if they release the beta, get beta gameplay footage out there, and then have the pre-orders all at the same time, that's really going to get people sort of hyped up and then pre-purchasing. And actually, I think that the pre-purchase would probably come with maybe a free month or something, because maybe there's a lot of people who want to get back into World of Warcraft, and, you know, they want to experience this level 90, they want to play the End of Mists, and this boost is really cool, but maybe they'll, not do it, because they would need to pay the extra $8.99. I think it would be a rather deft marketing move, actually, if they were just to give a free month with the pre-order. Anyway, so Warlords of Draenor beta probably coming up rather soon. As for the testing period itself, though, I don't think it will be as long as the Mists of Pandaria one. The reason I say that is because the Mists one came out, I think, roughly the same time, you know, in around March or something like that. I should probably do some specific checking, but I haven't. And then the actual expansion came out around September. I still don't know, a part of me thinks that it's realistic for Warlords to come out in September, but another part of me thinks that it's probably summer? I mean, I hope it's summer. I hope it's not September, because that it would be very, very unfortunate if the expansion were to coincide with the start of a new university semester. Anyway, so that's basically that little bit of news done. The pre-order is coming soon, and that's essentially all we know. Alright, so next let's have a bit of a chat about healing. Now, there was the original blog post, but as always, people have got a lot of questions, and a lot of these were directed at the developers via Twitter, in specific, Celestalin and Watcher. So both of them spent a long time on Twitter, and hopefully some of their replies and responses will clear up some of the, I guess, issues or maybe concerns that some people had. So first of all, I'm going to cover what Celestalin said, and I'm going to focus on the general things instead of the class-specific ones. So yeah, let's just jump on into it. He said that what they want as developers, and then what players also should probably want, is for you to heal the person, to heal somebody for 10%. They don't want it to feel like your smart heals or your totem or something else is doing the job for you. Basically, a part of what they're doing is they're trying to emphasize more direct feedback to your actual, the button presses that you make, and hopefully that should make healing feel a little bit more punchy and strong, which I think is definitely it's a nice idea. Right now, sometimes you hit a button and about 5 different people get healed, and maybe it just doesn't have that same direct kind of gameplay implication that the developers really want. So that was interesting enough. Then he also said that, just a quick little clarification here, Divine Star and Halo are still going to be instant casts for Shadow Priests, though if you're Holy and Discipline, I'm pretty sure they have a 1.5 second cooldown. So in regards to Cataclysm, he said that the key difference is that early Cataclysm was basically out of mana city. You were nearly always out of mana, and even during trash packs and things like that, you still would have to really pay attention, and in some cases even blow cooldowns. He said that this isn't going to be as much the case in Warlords of Draenor, because one of the main issues the early Cataclysm had was bad mana regeneration, and base mana regeneration. So what they're going to be doing is significantly increasing the base regen, and this means that when you hit level 100, you will have enough mana to do, and you won't have those same issues. And he also said they totally understand and expect a lot of skepticism, and that they are, of course, looking forward to constructive critical feedback during the testing. As for the whole understanding, criticism thing, I think a lot of people were definitely put off by the Cataclysm healing model. It's not something that I have direct experience with, but I've certainly heard a lot of people talk about it, and I guess some elements of this may actually sound a little bit similar, but I think what they're doing is they're taking the good ideas from the Cataclysm healing model and then balancing it out at the lower gear levels by increasing this base mana regeneration rate. So that was interesting enough. Then we actually got some interesting numbers here. He said that the post-squish damage will be about 4% of what it is currently, but health will be about 8% of what it is currently. This ties into some of the PvP changes in which the base player health is actually going to be doubled at level 100. From its, they would squish it down so everything's 4%, and then they would double the health. Now, of course, things are still going to be balanced in PvE, but for PvP, this means they don't need resilience or anything like that as much, so definitely very good to hear. And then next, he said that they really want healers to be a bit less mobile, and that this will actually be good for both player versus player and player versus environment. Encounters will demand less mobile healing, which is certainly interesting because a lot of encounters these days have demanded a lot of mobile healing, and it will be very interesting to see what this overall reduction in mobility will do to fight mechanics. I think right now there's definitely some fights which suffer from kind of too much stuff going on, and maybe there'll be a bit of a decrease in that sort of feeling if fights are still designed to allow people to stand still for periods of time because it's how their classes work. Hopefully, that we will be getting plenty of complexity from the fight, but also the class mechanics themselves will add a little bit more complexity because you have to worry about your movement and things like that. So definitely I think there's a great potential to add some more gameplay in there. Next, he said that the cast times that they mentioned in the blog are all pre-haste, and that the only cast times that are currently planned to be changed are the ones mentioned in the blog. Then he said that healers are currently time limited and not mana limited. What does he mean by that? Well, basically, bosses have to nuke you down really quickly because healers are very powerful. They can take a player from nearly 0 health to 100% in a matter of seconds. Well, because of that, the bosses really need to do a lot of damage to be of any challenge, which means that it's just a reaction time based thing. So what they ideally want to do is still make things kind of mana limited in a way, but definitely not to Cataclysm levels, and then just promote good decision making for keeping people alive. Next, he said that over the course of the expansion, they do have plans to make healers feel more powerful. I suppose there was probably a little bit of a concern when they said that the ratio of healing power to health pools is going to remain a lot more just sort of, it's not really going to grow much, so it's not going to be the case that you can, say, struggle with healing somebody up at level 100, but then by the third patch, it'll just be ultra easy. So I suppose that sort of raises a bit of a question of how are they going to make healers feel more powerful? Well, according to Celestial, what they're going to do is there will be faster casts via haste, you'll be able to do more expensive heals because of spirit and, your mana regen. You'll be able to crit more, you'll be able to use more cooldowns, there'll be more mastery effects, and then also more multi-strikes. Overall, this does sound good. Instead of just your flat out numbers being bigger, hopefully things like multi-strikes will just add a little bit more, just those kind of like awesome proc moments to combat, so I think that could be cool. And I think that some of the secondaries, especially multi-strikes, do seem like they could be a lot of fun, and that they will actually add gameplay, as opposed to being ultra passive. They will still, of course, be passive, though, because it's not an active ability. Alright, so next, he said that currently they have to hit players so hard that tanks have basically got a bit of a problem where virtually any damage will start to kill them, which means that it's constantly a state of emergency healing. And that's because you have the ability to pick someone back up to full health from low so fast. Basically, they aren't just going to nerf healing and then continue to tune incoming damage the way that they have been. Damage is going to be slower, and you will have more time to pick people back up to full health without emergency heals. I think that probably promotes a more decision-making based gameplay sort of mechanic or whatever, rather than just OMG hit buttons quickly, fast, this player's nearly dead, panic, panic, panic. So that could work out pretty well. Then next he said that the percentage of health pool healed to health pool size ratio will increase during the expansion, though not anywhere near the degree of the past ones. He said about 20 to 40% instead of previous 20 to 70% ratio. So as long as that stays a little bit lower, I think it definitely will prevent some of the problems that Mists of Pandaria has suffered from. Alright, then next we have some tweets from Watcher. He said that Mistweavers are going to be seeing some improvements, but we don't have anything specifically to say. I think that's probably more just improvements to gameplay, not actual number improvements, so that'll be interesting to see. Then he also said that it is possible for every spec to have a triage-capable toolkit without each spec playing the same. They do actually want to get you away from the feeling of the game just being constant triage healing all the time. But he does understand that, especially the early Cataclysm mana model in combination with the triage mechanics was not at all ideal. Then he also said that the current system, or not the current, the upcoming system in Warlords of Draenor will hopefully give exceptional healers a little bit more room in the top end to distinguish themselves, but they do plan on avoiding the pitfalls of the early Cataclysm healing model. Now, there were one or two people in the comments of the previous healing video that said that, well, they're not some ultra high skilled amazing healer. Are they, going to just be kind of dicked over by these systems? Well, Watcher did say that any system which excludes the bottom 30% of players is not a very well designed system, because honestly a system should cater to everybody and then provide lots of depth at the top end, so hopefully it will of course be able to cater to all skill levels of healing. Then he finally said that they will be doing a tuning pass of the Siege of Orgrimmar once patch 6.0 appears, and that's basically just going to make sure that nothing gets harder due to the system changes that are incoming to the game. Alright, so that is pretty much it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can check out my social media links and my Patreon page. The links are in the description. And that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.